Lord of the Plains. That's me.
What's up, y'all? This is Lord of the Plains here. I really appreciate y'all coming out and supporting my first video, my channel introduction video. Last I checked, we have like 50, 60 views, 18 to 20 subscribers. So once again, I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll be able to pump out some videos within a week or a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, depending on how busy I am. Once again, I really do appreciate it. Got some great videos upcoming. I'm already working on my best movies of 2023 and my worst movies of 2023. But this video currently right now is the most anticipated videos of this upcoming year, which is 2024. Stay tuned. I'm breaking this video into about 3 sections. The first section is all the movies that I know have a release date. Most of them have a title, but I'm going to sort of explain to you who's in it, what it's about. And then the last 2 sections, I'll explain to that. So please stay tuned. And here we go. Sometimes I Think About Dying is going to be starring Daisy Ridley, who played Rey in the previous Star Wars trilogy. She's actually announced to portray Rey in another trilogy upcoming, so I'm really excited about that. But this movie is going to be a character study. Fran, who likes to think about dying, makes the new guy at work laugh, which leads to dating and more. Now the only thing standing in their way is Fran herself. It's going to be a great character study. I'm really interested to see how the writers are going to, develop the characterization in a short enough movie, but also with not a lot of cast. There's a lot of movies out there with very minimal casts that have done really well. Some have done poorly, but hoping this is good. And I love Daisy Ridley. She's a great actress, and I think she has a really good future in Hollywood. Next up, directed by Matthew Vaughn, is Argylle. Now, if you don't know Matthew Vaughn, he actually directed the Kingsman movies. Great way to be introduced to his sort of comedy and action and violence style, so I highly recommend you watch it. But this one is an introverted spy novelist is drawn into the activities of a sinister underground syndicate. Bryce Dallas Howard is the author, and essentially she writes a spy novel which is actually happening in the real world, so now she gets engulfed in that world. I highly suggest you watch the trailer. It looks like a lot of fun. It's also got Henry Cavill with a interesting haircut. Bryce Dallas Howard, as I mentioned, you got John Cena, Sam Rockwell, Sophia Boutella, Samuel L. Jackson, Bryan Cranston, Catherine O'Hara. That's just to name a few. Go out and watch it. It's going to be a lot of fun. The only concern I do have, though, it is PG-13, and I do feel like this movie would be suited best as rated R, but there's been some R-rated movies that could have been PG-13. There's some that have been PG-13 that should have been rated R, so ratings don't necessarily have an impact on a movie, but hopefully it doesn't impact this one. Drive Away Dolls. This one is directed by Ethan Coen. Now, if you recognize the last name Coen, that's because if you watch No Country for Old Men, Ballad of Buster Scruggs, or Fargo, you had the Coen brothers who directed those movies. I believe they're branching off on their own, doing their own movies, so this one is done by Ethan. Jamie regrets her breakup with her girlfriend while Mary needs to relax. In search of a fresh start, they embark on an unexpected road trip to Tallahassee, but things go quickly awry when they cross paths with an inept group of criminals. Now, this one looks actually really good. You got Pedro Pascal, Margaret Qualley, and Matt Damon, just to name a couple. Anything with the Coen brothers, I'm there. No Country for Old Men was an absolute phenomenal movie. Probably one of my top 15 or 20 movies of all time. I'm definitely interested to see how he's going to work by himself. Dune Part 2 is the next upcoming movie I'm excited about. This is once again directed by Denis Villeneuve, who also did Prisoners, Blade Runner 2049, Sicario. This is going to follow the events of the first one that came out a few years ago, where Paul Atreides, portrayed by Timothée Chalamet, unites with Shania and the Freeman while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. You're going to have Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, quite a few more people reprising their roles from the first one. But you're also adding Florence Pugh, Austin Butler, Christopher Walken, and a few more. The first Dune movie was absolutely phenomenal. I think today, actually, they just announced the final runtime is 165 minutes, which is going to be great, over 2.5 hours. Essentially, if you put the Dune movies back to back, it should be about a 5-hour runtime, which honestly, from what I've heard, I've never actually read the Dune novels or series, but I've heard it's phenomenal. So I'm just really excited to see this cast again. The first movie was great, and I'm definitely there to see it in IMAX because it deserves to be seen in the highest quality. This next movie is, honestly, I'm putting it on my most anticipated list for more of the fun and action rather than it being an actual movie. This one is Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. This is going to follow the events of Godzilla vs. Kong, where they finally met, and then Godzilla and Kong themselves are going to face a colossal threat hidden deep within the planet, challenging their very existence and the survival of the human race. Essentially, I think it's going to be a bigger, badder version of Kong, but you have Rebecca Hall and Brian Tyree Henry reprising their roles from the previous movie, but you're also adding Dan Stevens and Alex Ferns. You don't know who those names are. Alex Ferns was the commissioner in the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. Dan Stevens was the Beast in the live-action Beauty and the Beast, also from Downton Abbey. So I definitely think you got a good core group of cast members there. The director did say there's going to be about a 10-minute pure Titan fight with no human interaction, and that's exactly what we deserve. We've gone through Godzilla King of the Monsters, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla vs. Kong, where they fight, but you get the humans to interact with them during the fight. And I think just having that pure carnage of Titans fighting is what the audience really deserves, and I'm finally glad they're giving it to us. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, directed by Guy Ritchie, who did one of my favorite comedy movies of all time, which is The Gentleman. He also directed the Sherlock Holmes movie with RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., the live-action Aladdin. Anything with Guy Ritchie, I'm there. He's got a very unique sense of style of how he crafts his movies, how he directs it, the comedy he uses, the way he approaches action. It's very good. This one's actually a timepiece. The plot of this is the British military recruits a small group of highly skilled soldiers to strike against Nazi forces behind enemy lines during World War II. Now, I think it's really interesting that this is going to be a war piece, so I don't think he's done anything close to that. So I'm going to be curious to see if this is actually based on a true story, or if this is actually based on just something that he wrote. But you have Alan Ritchson, who is the big, bulky guy in Reacher, the main dude of Reacher, big and bulky, scary guy. So I think he's going to do absolutely phenomenal. You also got Henry Cavill, Carrie Elliott, and Henry Golding. I think all of them are going to do good, especially with the type of movies that Guy Ritchie produces. This one doesn't necessarily have a title, but it's an M. Night Shyamalan project, untitled. Whatever M. Night Shyamalan does, I'm always there. Ever since I first saw Signs as a kid, I was in love with it. It scared the crap out of me, especially with the little alien walking past the house. Like, anything with him, I'm in there to watch it. Even if his last couple of movies haven't been a good hit, they've at least given you that sense of creepiness and tension, which is definitely needed. I think it'll be good. Hopefully we'll get some more information coming shortly, because I believe it releases in the next 3 months. So hopefully we get some more info. This next movie is one that I'm concerned about, but I'm excited for it, and I'll tell you why. This is directed by Alex Garland, who did Ex Machina and Annihilation. Also a couple movies you should see, but it's titled Civil War. In the near future, a team of journalists travel across the United States during a rapidly escalating civil war that has engulfed the entire nation. It stars the husband-wife duo Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons. It's also got Kaylee Spaney, Jefferson White. I'm excited for this because with the current political world we're in, this is a very real possibility, and I think a lot of people should go out there because this is potentially what could happen in the near future. So who knows? This could be honestly one of the most important movies of 2024 that comes out just because of the subject. The concern I did say that I have is the runtime. When it first was originally announced, I looked at it, had a runtime of over 3 hours, which I was ecstatic about. But then when I went to go back and research for these movies, it was just under 2 hours. And I'm not necessarily sure that's a good thing, because I feel like with this sort of content and the amount of time you need to give these stories, I feel like that's going to be a short time. But who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see.